Wish we didn't have to talk about this. A lot of people think these culture wars are a distraction, but they're hurting people, and we should care. If we're progressives or just good people, we need to stay on this. And I think it's connected to economics because I think Republicans are pushing this crazy shit to distract people from the economic Hunger Games. But in the latest version of just let's go back to prehistoric times, Tennessee Republicans have put forward a bill that would eliminate age requirement for marriages for
Hmm.
heterosexual couples. Interesting. A proposal making its way through the state legislature would establish a common law marriage between one man and one woman. Opponents of the bill say it would eliminate an age requirement and, in some instances, open the door for a cover up of child sex abuse. The bill sponsor, Tom Leatherwood, said the law being considered would add a new marriage option for Tennesseans. Quote, so all this bill does is give an alternative form of marriage for those pastors and other individuals who have a conscientious objection to the current pathway to marriage, which is you have to be 17 to get married in Tennessee. But missing from the bill are age requirements, opening the door for possible child marriages, something the bill sponsor acknowledged during a Children and Family Affairs subcommittee. There is not an explicit age limit. Representative Mike Stewart, who sits on the subcommittee the bill passed, said he doesn't understand the motivation. I don't think any normal person thinks we shouldn't have an age requirement for marriage. He added it could open up the possibility to cover up child sex abuse. Quote, it should not be there as it's basically a get out of jail free card for people who are basically committing statutory rape. I mean, you just uh, you just can't make it up. I want to read this tweet, which I think kind of sums it up. New Tennessee Republicans are advancing a bill that create a separate privileged class of marriage for heterosexual couples, acting as a loophole to the Supreme Court's legalization of gay marriage. The bill would also legalize child marriage by eliminating age requirements. Um, you know, I got to say, I don't have children yet, but what scares me, Steve, any living, breathing, sensible, effective political party should be destroying these dangerous fascist fuckers who want like 10-year-olds to get married. Literally. Some of these people are old enough to have grandkids. They're pushing laws where their grandkids could get married to, I don't know, politicians. It's just disgusting. And I'm sure it will pass. Ron DeSantis just signed the Don't Say Gay bill, which, yes, that's what it is. I covered it down in Florida. And I don't know. I kind of understand. I don't agree with it, but I kind of understand like the woke stuff. Like, hey, let's pass all this shit to outlaw critical race theory, even though it's not being taught in schools because it will gin up our, bigoted base. But I don't really get like where is the base for child marriage? Maybe there is a base for child marriage, and I just haven't met them yet.
I think there's just a case for rich people going after young people and being able to have an excuse now, a get out of jail free card. I think that's really what it comes down to. I mean, when you have the world and you can afford anything, what do you not have? You want to be a god. And so here they are. They get to play God, and that's what it's really about, man. I can't imagine any other thing. But you nailed it. I think the first go round when you said that ultimately they need to gin up that freaking socially regressive group of people to get them hyped up and amped up for their faux elections that they're going to throw so that they can get them all hot around the collar and get them out there motivated to fight back against the woke culture. I mean, you're right. Nobody's teaching CRT in school. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, but they're doing it. They're passing these laws just so that they can have some chum in the water because they got nothing else. I mean, to be fair, Democrats are giving them plenty of ammo to get up just to totally just disavow them. So I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, ultimately, they're going to do insane things because that's what insane people do. But it's really there, I believe, to do two things. Number one, to free up the oligarchs who would like to get laid by the youth of today and not be called a pedophile. And now all of a sudden they got a pathway to doing that. And the flip side is they just want to gin up some crazy people to get them to the polls. So I think that's probably it.
Right. But to me, I mean, the big deal is this can bring us back to feudal times and like
We're already there, man.
arrange marriages and like,
yes.
this kingdom, the 14-year-old marries I don't know, the uncle. It's bizarre.
We are already there on the economic side. We're already there in landlording. We're already there in the way that the work is going now. I mean, Jordan, all that's left is the social fabric to bring us back to neo-feudalism. I mean, this is a new age, modern, gilded age for the wealthy, and they want to be able to have what they want to have, and it's going to happen. I mean, these things are going to continue to happen. It's just this is the new gilded age. We're just not the gilded ones.
And by the way, can I just say, Republicans are very concerned about life, in the womb. But then when you're out, go fuck yourself. I'll sell, you could get married at 8 years old. I mean, it's just beyond hypocritical, contradictory, soulless, and I don't want to sound like Nancy Pelosi, but I'm worried about the children. Can you imagine, like, there's like some 13, 14, 15-year-olds say, I'm in love with this older guy and he wants to marry me. And the parent, I would hope if you have good parents, they would say no, but they can't really do anything about it in this instance.
No.
And I would argue you're not mature enough to decide whether to get married. You could have a lot of younger women pregnant, and also the LGBTQ aspect of this, because as that tweet showed, this is only for heterosexual couples. And this is also an attempt to change the definition of marriage, circumventing the Supreme Court, which is an attack on LGBTQ people. Colin, if you have the clip, I was down in Florida. YouTube didn't show any of the videos, but I spoke with LGBT people who are suicidal, on antidepressants, and are basically saying Republicans are trying to kill us. Let's take a look.
I mean, Ron DeSantis' own, I don't remember the title, but press secretary, yeah, that's right, went on Twitter and said it's an anti-grooming bill. And that is such a blatantly obvious dog whistle to legally enforce this stereotype that has put queer people in danger, that has gotten us killed. That is the reason we have, higher homicide rates, right? So they are putting us in danger, and they know what they're doing, and they say, oh, you're not a parent, like, who are you to judge? And I'm saying, well, I'm a student. I'm the one who would be affected by this. This year, I don't even know I surround myself mostly with queer people, and like everyone I know is suicidal. I'm on antidepressants. Everyone I know has, like, it's
I have
terrible.
A bag of medication.
Yeah, exactly. Every single person is either on antidepressants or like extremely suicidal, and that's where we're at right now. Florida already has the highest LGBTQ suicide rate of any state, and queer teens are 4 times more likely to commit suicide, and they know that, because I said that and I was one of hundreds that said that, testifying in the Senate and the House of Representatives. I went door to door talking to senators and representatives, Republican and Democrat, telling them these statistics and telling them personal stories. They heard me, they listened, and they voted for it anyways, because they know what they're doing, and they are trying to kill us. And no one will say it. Exactly, and no one will say it, but that's what they're trying to do.
So you think
I think it's intentional.
I mean, fortunately, the bill won't sell that 16-year-old to get married because that 16-year-old is gay. But the heterosexual 16-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, you're open for business. It's just, I understand that a lot of progressives think, Jordan, these are culture wars. Why bother? Because they have real damage. They damage real people. We shouldn't just care. We need to care about human suffering, period. And also, again, I've seen it on the ground. What does the media cover? Not the housing crisis in Florida, the Don't Say Gay bill. Not people being evicted, the Don't Say Gay bill, or the Stop Woke Act. Tennessee, I'm sure it's similar. So it's also, not only is it affecting real people, whether it's LGBTQ, children in this case, but it's also distracting the masses from what's really going on. Any other thoughts, Steve?
Well, I think you hit it on the head right there. I mean, I don't believe you should look at any of these instances in isolation. I think that we spend a lot of time in what we call orphaned politics, where we just focus on this little myopic thing and we fight on that one little thing, and everything else melts down around us. I think this is part of a larger whole. The culture war, it is a distraction at some level, but it has real consequences. But it's used to create massive amounts of blue flame hotspots that allow other things to happen. I mean, think about what's happening in Ukraine and Russia right now. You've got the focus, heavy focus, and rightfully so. War sucks. We should be anti-war. But while that's going on, our government is doing all kinds of shit behind our backs. Everybody's eyes are over there. Shit's happening right here. It's the same thing with those things. It's all important, but it's not important. It's just that it can't be done in isolation. It has to be seen as a part of the whole. And you've got to realize that the larger picture here is that really America is for sale. The mass privatization of everything, including Biden's efforts to privatize Medicare, are happening right under our nose. The student debt issue is right under our nose. All these things all play into this, and these kind of hotbed issues are very important, and they know they're important, so they flare them up right in the middle of something else so other things can happen. And usually those things are massive amounts of sucking of GDP up to the oligarchs while we starve and while we get evicted and while we end up in a lot of pain. And I think that this is also part and parcel with what you said to start the show about Nancy Pelosi and others. This is the mass sucking up, the like just this big vacuum sucking money up from the poor, from the bottom up to the rich. And it's happening before our very eyes. And they're using these moments, these things, because Republicans and Democrats, they both have money. You know, behind the scenes, they're playing golf. This isn't like some real theological, religious experience for them. These people are friends offline, behind the scenes. So many of them I mean, they pick up the phone and call each other. This is a lot of political theater, and they know it, and they're getting rich through this process. And you don't have to look very hard to see it happen. So don't discount that pain down there. Suicide's a very real thing, but so is suicide from economic hunger games that you're covering. Suicide everywhere, hopelessness, where hopelessness is king, suicides follow. And that's what you're seeing right now. And you're covering a lot of good stuff, Jordan, and hats off to you for doing it.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.